Any age group, young or old.
Butlins recruited a team of hosts and entertainers to keep the guests active and happy. They wore red coats so that the holidaymakers could spot them in a crowd. Rocky Mason still remembers the code of conduct issued with his first red coat uniform over 50 years ago.
The rules were, you have become a famous philosopher, friend and guide. You are now a Butlin redcoat. And as such, don't look for attractive girls. Look for the tubby little person, the wallflower, someone sitting alone.
But redcoats weren't supposed to get too friendly with the guests.
The male redcoats were opposite the unattached girls. And there was just like a walkway between their chalets and ours, right? And we used to call it the bridge over the River Kwai because you used to hide behind things. And when the security guards had gone by, you'd nip across.
Over the years, Billy Butlin would expect his redcoats to be equally daring when it came to the camp's many and varied activities, some of which carried more than a hint of danger, as Roger Billington discovered when he was working at Minehead in 1965.
Billy decided to send a speedboat down, and I want you to do water skiing. And I was the idiot who said to him, but Mr. Butlin, we've never water. In fact, we've never driven a speedboat before. He said, there's a library in Minehead, go and get a book out. In his vocabulary, there's no such thing as can't.
You're going to try it yourself to appreciate how difficult it really can be.
All right, the boat was on the railway line a few times and on the sports field, but we managed to water ski, and we got so proficient. We actually did a Pathley pictorial, doing crossovers in the end, and we got quite good at it.
There you are, it's as easy as that. You don't often see a champion take a nosedive.
But whether water skiing or guest greeting, working as a redcoat in the early days of Butlins was a much sought-after job. Valerie Nibbs was working at the Birmingham Telephone Exchange when she applied to become a redcoat in 1959.
To be a redcoat in those days was really like winning Britain's Got Talent. When I did get the letter to say I was going to Filey, all the girls from the Telephone Exchange being so excited was just really as if I was a star.
One of Valerie's most important duties as a redcoat was broadcasting the campers' wake-up call on Radio Butlin.
At 7 o'clock you'd say, good morning campers, this is Valerie speaking. This is just to remind you it's now 7 a.m. and your first sitting breakfast will be available at 8:15.
This is Radio Butlin calling with a special announcement.
And then you would play Sleepy Shores very gently. So it was the only way of communicating with so many people, because if you had people turning up at any time for breakfast, you can imagine there would just be pandemonium.
This was not a tactic that would meet with the approval of Roy and Jill Williamson from King's Lynn, who for the most part were big fans of the redcoats.
They pulled out all stops to make your holiday as nice as possible, and by God, they done it.
But after a busy day around the camp, the last thing the Williamsons wanted was a country music wake-up call.
Well, first thing in the morning, over the tannoy, they would start off with some music. And when we were there, it was always John Denver singing Annie's song.
I'd like to get hold of it, break it or throw it in the pool. That's what I thought of Annie's song after a week of that same record.
Soon, fed-up holidaymakers started to sabotage the speakers in their chalets.
We found out later they were coming with wire clippers, and so they were clipping the wires. So after the first day, the clipper, they'd have to go around all the chalets at the end of the week and repair these tannoy speakers.
And when the redcoats weren't waking you up, they were getting you involved in another great